Have you ever wondered whether you grow up in America or in Europe, in your respective countries, have you wondered about why so many of the youth of the present and the past, and probably the future, disrespect their flag, their country, their culture, and their religion that is traditional to their way of life? Why do they? And I believe it revolves around many things. Ignorance, poverty, lack of a good education. Now, one may say, certainly, that most people in the West are not poor. True. But poor in the way that they've been taught. Therefore, lack of education and poor in the way they've been taught can be combined. Controlling education is one of the biggest cruxes of the left's plan to conquer us generation by generation. Especially if they can do this by taking over the social studies, the arts, the philosophies, the history of a country. In public schools today, students are subjected to a veritable barrage of hate against their own country in history. Even from the very beginning days when we arrived at Jamestown and on the Little Rock, and all around that area, that eastern seaboard. There is a slaughter of the natives, and it's one-sided. Then we bring over the slaves and treat them terribly. And then we continue to hurt the Indians, and then we kick them off the bus. And then we make sure that blacks can only use separate bathrooms. And mind you, these bathrooms are full of crap. It is a terrible thing that they subject students to. And let us continue further. Japanese into retention camps in World War II. Then we have the Mexican crisis, in which we riot against people of color. Then there is the KKK, neo-Nazis, Reaganomics, and the terrible racism that came from it. All this is turning young minds who don't have parents in the house to teach them otherwise. Young minds that will slowly be decayed by the state teachings of self-hate, self-loathing, and masochistic feelings, which will soon destroy the culture of this nation unless changed. That is why children should be preserved. There should be an abundance of history books, and geography books, and philosophy books, religious books, good novels, moral fantasy novels, moral adventure novels, everything that I've mentioned here. There should be an abundance of that in a family. The children should be put into home schools, private schools. The public schools cannot be entered, no matter the cost financially. Because these things will turn your children into monsters, and the colleges are even worse. And the teachers themselves know what is being done. They know, and they go along with it. When they teach history, even those that aren't lefties, they say, "All right, just memorize the dates and the fact. I know you'll be interested in this, students." But the student is not interested in knowing the exact date of a battle, or the birthday of some scientist from Africa, or, the crowning of a king from China. If he's a European, he doesn't care about that. If he's an American, he doesn't care about that. One naturally wants to love the achievements of their family. Well, the great culture of Europe and of America, that's our family, and we've been taught to hate it. So going back to what teachers try to force on students by memorizing dates and facts, what should be taught is to search and discover the forces that are the causes of those results which appear before the eyes of generations as historical events. The art of reading and studying consists in remembering the essentials and forgetting what is not essential. That is necessary. History must be something that is intrinsically tied to our cultural belief as a people, as a religion, and as a person. History now is being taught about how evil the whites have been, how evil those damn Christians have been, and how evil those people that hail from Europe are, and how they must be crushed, how their babies must be aborted, how birth pills must be given to them, so that the peaceful young brown-colored people can take over their countries for the good, because we need them. But countries cannot absorb migrants like that, and in such large numbers. History is evident of that. The Roman Empire destroyed. Various Asiatic empires destroyed because of this. Even the Native Americans, if you're looking at it from their side, they should have shown relentless conflict and resolve against the white colonists, because they knew that the whites had heavier firepower, were indeed more technologically advanced, more disciplined, and they should have known that from the onset. But no, they didn't. They weren't united, and they were in tribes. Tribes which fail. Yugoslavia failed. That is why the term Balkanized has become a word. Too many ethnicities, too many religions, in a state fractured with bureaucratic messes. And that is the problem that we face. But if people do not know this, then they will be attracted to the Sanders, to the Cortezes, to the Castros, to the fuzzy-wuzzy little Stalin mustache man. No, they will be. Because all they want is something that appeals to their emotions. Emotions which are so fragile. They've been taught that, oh, us white people, we shouldn't care about our race. But we should care about the black race. You know what? I'm going to put myself and pay $1,000 to go to a orientation class on how terrible my race is. That was actually in the news, I believe. Men are paying around $860 to go to a camp run by feminists, teaching men how toxic they are and how you can lose it. But all in all, we shouldn't be so dang angry that most of these youthful members of the Progressive Crusade, we should not be. We should be angry and justly wrathful against those that lead the crusade, this demonic enterprise of taking over everything. The media, the Soroses, they, and you know who they are. I don't want to mention it because I don't want to get my video destroyed or deleted. We must teach them how it is in this world. We must slowly fight for what is right. And when I mean fight, I'm not advocating violence. God knows I don't want violence or war. But history has shown when the left and right come to a rising hatred towards each other, and it's not abated, it results in bloodshed. The White Russians versus the Reds, Francoists versus the Republicans, versus the very nice democratic Spaniards who are against the evil Nazis and their Catholic allies. In China, Chiang Kai-shek, that other Nazi, who was trying to destroy the innocent Chinese people, and Mao Zedong came in and saved them. And, you know, he only killed I don't know how many tens of millions of people along the way, but that's okay. Because better for people to die than for a Nazi to take over. That is the truth of history. Remember that in order for us to gain more allies in our endeavor to reclaim this country and whatever country you are in the West, we must fight. But you can only fight for something that you love. Love what you respect, and respect only what at least That is why history is important. It gives us the knowledge to respect what we were born with, that nobility, that shared culture and common history, the battles, the bloodshed, the great cathedrals that threw their shadows across the land, the learning, the faith, the knights in shining armor, the simple times, the quaint villages. So, when you gain that respect from things you know, then you can love it. And that love burns, and a nationalist's love totally never dies, even if he is defeated. He will always love his country and his culture. Because that love is so natural to a man. And that is why, over the decades, that love has been mutated into self-loathing. That's why we must fight, my friends, on the campuses, in our towns, in our meetings and in the media, in our workplaces and at home. Reclaim your families and reclaim the right that we have to make our space in the world and to be proud of who we are in this world. And no one, not even the highest man in the world, can tell you otherwise. Thank you very much for listening to this. This has been The Modern Monarchist, and I hope that you learned something from it. God bless.